Hello, everybody. This is Kate Strashny from Dedicated. I want to welcome you to the Dedicated Show. We are here live. This is not AI generated. I'm going to have a very special guest that's going to join me in just a second. He is the CEO of Zetaris, Vinay Samuel. Before I bring him up on stage, just a quick reminder this is a live show. Things can happen. But if you're here joining us, please say hello in the comments. It makes us really happy to see your questions, your comments, your thoughts. If you're agreeing with what we're talking about or disagreeing, please put that into the chat. And we'll actually try to take some of the questions throughout the show. Now, the topic of the show today is we're talking about the hidden cost of data platforms and how Zetaris makes every query count. They've got something really interesting when it comes to directing queries, and we'll get right into that in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Vinay up on our virtual stage here. Vinay, thank you so much for being here. Tell us, where are you? Where are you right now?
So I'm in, where am I? I'm in Croatia today. Yeah. So traveling the world, the business is going, in Aussie terms, gangbusters. So we're just trying to hire people across the UK, Europe, America. We've got customer pilots happening everywhere. Everyone's buying into this idea of distributed AI, and hence, how do you get AI to the data rather than trying to get the data into a central place? And we'll talk a lot about that, I'm sure, today. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm chasing a business that's growing, which is fun.
I love that. And I know you're always in a new location. That's why when we started the call, I'm like, so where are you now? You're like, oh, Croatia. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, great.
I was in France yesterday and London the day before, so it's fun. We're having a lot
Great.
of fun at the moment.
Well, last time we had a conversation, we were actually in person. It was about a year ago at an event in New York City. And I'm excited to chat with you again. I think a good place for us to start is what's happened in the past 12 months. Catch us up.
Yeah, so a lot has happened. On the customer front, we won some really big logos and gone through some very rigorous, deep testing of our platform. But I'm sure some of the listeners might not know, we're an alternative to Databricks and Snowflake and all of those cloud data platforms. And so customers who are thinking about repatriating their data back into the data center, and then this idea of not putting all the data into a lakehouse, but having this modern lakehouse where you connect to different data sources. That's really caught on. People want to try it. The idea of a distributed environment, a data environment for AI seems to be the thing now. And so big logo customers, lots of piloting happening, lots of growth, exciting growth challenges in terms of having to hire people over the last 12 months. On the product front, one of the big visions that I had when I started this company, my background is Teradata, Green Plum, Vertica. I've been in the data industry for the better half of 30 years. The big vision was, how do you bring the cost right down whilst maximizing the value? And how do you change, and to do that, changing the way data is processed, changing the way data platforms are architected. And one of the big things we've achieved is this idea of query director. And that is this concept of, in real time, deciding where this query should run. So a query coming from a business user, a BI user, an AI agent, that query coming into Zetaris, looking at it and saying, from a performance point of view, from a cost point of view, from a governance point of view, and expected outcomes for that user, what's the best query engine to run it on? Should I run it on Spark, Trino, DuckDB, Databricks, Teradata? What's the best way to run that query so that at the end of the day, you're absolutely maximizing the value of the query and crunching down the cost. That query director vision over the last year has not only come to life, it's been tested by very large multi-petabyte big logos in America. So that for me is one of the big things we've achieved. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's definitely something I really want to get into. Before we get into the query director, which honestly always makes me think of like a traffic controller or or an orchestra
Traffic cop.
conductor, something.
Yeah.
I was reading an article from KPMG, and there was a quote that really stood out, and it said, on average, companies are spending 35%. That's a huge amount. 35% more on cloud resources than needed to meet their business objectives. So data teams are definitely spending more than they should. And my question to you is, where is that money actually going? Why is that number so high?
Yeah, I read that paper too. I'll give you my perspective. I think, well, I know that most of the customers I'm meeting who have multiple data platforms, they've got databases in the data center, they've got lots of data points, endpoints, and data sources at the edge, but quite significant presence in the various cloud data platforms. Um, um, you know, I think we're at a point where in this whole industry where people are rethinking. They're really rethinking what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely important. Just checking in here for some of the comments. We've got
Yeah.
Scott Taylor saying, "Hey,
Hey,
Vinay." We've got Andreas saying it's an important topic. He's big in data engineering,
yeah,
and Kevin is saying that he definitely agrees with the distributed nature of AI projects
yeah.
and the fact that BARC surveys find that AI workloads are a third on-prem, a third hybrid, and a third in the cloud. And then one more here from Andreas, that especially in the cloud, money is disappearing into a black hole.
And that's that. Thanks for reminding me, Andreas. The whole thing about that cost article is that people are taking their workloads and picking one platform or one query engine, one SQL engine, and expecting that one engine can handle every type of query. Now, query could be an analytic, or it could be a SQL query, or some sort of Python script. And so the expectation is, I've picked, either Databricks, Teradata, or Snowflake. I'm going to throw all my workloads at it, and it's going to do those workloads equally and optimize them. That's just not true. Some queries are really great and should run on data platform X, but there's a lot of queries, usually about 50% of the queries we're seeing in large clients, that they're running on the wrong platform because they've made the assumption, I'll pick one platform and that's going to do all my workloads. So that's actually a concept from back in the day, back in 1995, where everyone used to do these big bake-offs for their data warehouse. Should it be Oracle or Teradata or Sybase? That thinking is going away because now with AI and capabilities like what we've built, an AI-driven query director, now basically what you can do is look at the query in flight, and you can work out the cost of that query before you run it and put it on the right platform from a cost and performance point of view. So a lot of money is being wasted just over provisioning resources for a query that shouldn't be running on the wrong platform. If you know what I mean. Over provisioning compute to make a query that shouldn't be running on platform X, right? Or data platform X.
Right.
I run into a lot of customers who talk about bill shock. As just a few weeks ago, had a customer who said to me, we at the start of the year blew our whole year budget in Q1. And that's because we didn't know what the business wanted to do. We didn't have strong alignment. And it's hard to do that with AI and analytics. Even the business doesn't know what they want to do because it's a learning process. You're kind of like running and learning and then pivoting and redesigning your analytics and your AI. And so in Q1, they just totally blew their budget. And it was a big shock. And the conclusion they came to was really interesting. And I'm not going to name names here, but they were running on either Databricks or Teradata or Snowflake.
But you're not naming names, right, Vinay?
I'm not going to name names, right? I'm not going to name specific names. And it really wasn't any of those platforms' fault. It's just that they were running the wrong queries on that platform.
So I want to explore this a little bit more. So there is such a thing as a wrong platform, right? For depending on the queries that you're running. Can you give a concrete example of the type of query and where it should be directed? How does that actually work?
Yeah, sure. So I'll give you a real world example. Large media company, we've shown them a 40% cost takeout opportunity for their data lake project, large. I'm talking multi petabytes, and they're running Databricks, a Snowflake, and Starburst Trino. And what they're doing is they've got some groups running all their queries at Trino, right, and some groups running all their queries at Databricks, and some of the reason for that is historical, just how they've kind of evolved their data landscape. And so the queries running in Trino that are really complex, more streaming join queries, large data sets, multi-table joins that should be running in something like Spark or Teradata, for instance. They're trying to get them done in Trino, right? And that's an example where if you had a query director, you would say, okay, as a user sending a query to Trino that shouldn't be running there, let's send it to Spark. But when the query comes, that's a short, interactive query, really great for what Trino was built for. Let that through the door, let it run on Trino, right? And so what Zetaris has done is we've built that multi-engine query director, which in real time sits over the top of your existing platforms and directs those queries, creates a single view of the data in those platforms, uses a unified semantic capability to actually be able to join data across different platforms and where it is. And that's our whole analytical data virtualization capability, but uses that as a roadmap to look at the query, see how it proposes to join it, work out the complexity, use AI to decide which end engine or SQL engine it should be running on. Hopefully that gave you a sense of it. It gets more complex when a client's got many different types of data platforms, many different SQL engines running on top of those platforms. And query direction is something that is perfect for AI because sometimes, it is really nuanced whether you should run a query in Teradata or should you be running it in Snowflake. It's really nuanced in terms of performance versus cost. So what we're driving customers towards is best performance and best total cost of query, and ultimately best total cost of ownership. That's one massive capability that we bring to market, and customers are really paying attention to it because now with AI coming in to play, AI needs data instantly in real time, wants access to everything. AI creates complexity that's unpredictable in terms of complexity of the queries running against your data layer. So you need to be working out how you're going to run a continuous cost minimization and performance maximization regime. That's what query direction is about.
Okay, and so you talked a bit about how much money people can save, what the cost benefits are. What about time? Does that actually slow things down for the query director to decide, okay, this query is going here, this query is going to that engine, or?
Yeah, funnily enough, no. It's the latency issue. For a start, we test both from a query direction perspective, but also from this idea of the modern open lakehouse. For those who know us would know that we actually say that the new type of modern open lakehouse means that you don't bring all your data into the one place. You have perhaps 40% of your data in the center in Iceberg or Hoodie or Delta, and then you join it in real time to wherever the data sources are. They could be at the edge, they could be in the data center, it could be in the cloud. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought. Can you hit me with the question again?
Yeah. We were. I was just asking if it slows things down to have your director sit on top.
So for our data virtualization, the modern lakehouse, we have a query optimizer, what we call a heterogeneous query optimizer, that basically ensures that all of that cross-joining across your network absolutely is done in a way that doesn't impact the source systems or slows things down.
Okay.
The query director is actually the softest touch. It's a lightest touch. We're just taking statistics all of the time and comparing those statistics to the type of query that you're running. So the short answer is no, it doesn't slow things down. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. We've got some more questions in the from the audience, so I wanted to Get one from Kevin here. He's asking, do your customers adopt use Zetaris as part of their FinOps projects? In his opinion, query, cloud, and AI taken costs all need governance as part of a unified program.
Yeah, it's a great question. So usually it's in the chief data officer's sort of area. Very commonly, it's the data team that adopts it. It's not we're not targeting to replace your existing platforms. You might in the future optimize or re-architect because of our thinking, but it's usually the data teams themselves and the data engineers and the data architects getting together and saying, hey, there's a different way of doing this. Firstly, you can do query direction to match the right engine, right SQL engine to the right query. And then secondly, once you overlay Zetaris across all of your different databases, your data lakes, data warehouses, data streams, across the cloud at the edge, you actually get to that single view. Right, and that's something that the data teams want. So usually it's the data team, it's the whatever they call themselves, the IT data management area or information management area. They usually come up with different names, but it's usually the people that are actually responsible for serving the business users.
Okay, I want to move on to performance gains and cost savings. So I know we referenced an article earlier that said there's like 35% that companies are overspending on cloud. Yeah. How much of those savings do you typically get back for customers once they start using Zetaris? What have you seen for prior customer experiences?
So what we're seeing at the moment,
and how much money can you save, Vinay? Tell us.
Huh?
How much money can you save for customers?
How much money? Yeah, that's right. That's the golden question, isn't it? We're seeing somewhere between 30 to 60% cost takeout, and it's not just query direction. So if you take up the Zetaris model, which is, let me first explain the model, then I'll tell you where the cost takeouts are.
Okay.
The model is in the name of the product, the modern open lakehouse, right? Modern means that we automate the coding, we automate the pipeline development, and we use query direction. Okay, and ultimately what we're doing is we're taking AI to the data, and we're taking the query to the right engine. When you take AI to the data, it means you're not doing ETL. You're not trying to do these complex transformations across complex data sets. You're doing that at query time using metadata, and you're doing that using reference models that know what the data should look like, and AI making those decisions. So there's your first hint at where the cost takeout is at one layer, query direction, and then just the ton of work that you have to do the legacy style warehouse where you put all your data into a cloud data platform. Then the word open. Open means it can run anywhere, and it can run in a hybrid kind of mode. What that means is run anywhere means is you can run the core Zetaris cluster in your data center, you can run it at the edge, and you can run it in your private cloud. So there's another opportunity to bring your costs right down and actually dictate the kind of total cost of ownership outcome. And then finally, this idea of a single queryable view from day one means that you can create views for your business. You can do it using metadata, not physical data, so that you're not spending tons of money trying to duplicate data to create that single view. So typically to do a lakehouse, this bronze, silver, gold approach, that's data duplication, that's effort duplication. So because we're using virtualization, this idea of taking the query to wherever the data is, or the AI to the data, because we're joining metadata, not physical data, there's a massive cost opportunity. So ultimately, cost takeout comes from this query direction idea, so that you're not running the wrong engine and over provisioning compute. It comes from actually, here's one of the areas we see a lot of cost opportunity. When you're leaving data where it is and joining it in real time for AI, now that's great for AI. AI absolutely needs it in real time.
Yeah.
But when you do that, you're actually using some of the spare compute on your other systems. So you're kind of like getting double benefit from compute you've paid for for some other application or some other database. That adds to the cost equation. And that ultimately our whole modern open lakehouse model, where you don't have to centralize all the data. And when I use the word centralize, think duplication of storage, people, and effort. So when all those things come together with the automation, so we have AI automation, what that means is anything from connecting to data, structuring it, creating the unified semantic view of the data, we're using AI to do that. All of that adds up with the query direction piece, adds up to what we're seeing in some cases 60%. And we have to check that time and time again when the client says, oh my gosh, I think we can bring this right down, to other cases where it's 30%. Massive cost takeout. Now, to get to the best cost equation, it means you're going to buy into our modern open lakehouse model, but you don't have to get to that level straight away. The first thing you can do is just grab Zetaris, layer it over the top of your existing way of doing things, and use that as your central point to govern queries. And we'll give you, we're seeing like 30-40% just with that, right? And that's an easy pilot to do. It's an easy proof point. Customers turn around to us and say, we've just managed to bring our compute costs down so much, and we've managed to take out a ton of money that we thought we were going to have to spend this year. So now I'm talking about cost. There's another side to this thing, and that is the requirement that AI actually has, the requirement for real-time access, the requirement for deep governance as it's been accessed. Here's the other big thing that clients are telling us why they're coming to us: sovereignty. The idea that you as a client owns your AI, owns the data platform underneath it. We have many clients who are saying to us, we love the fact that Zetaris is this blueprint for stitching together those common open source capabilities like Spark. Sorry, I lost you for a moment. You still there?
Yeah. I can still hear you. You froze, but I can still hear you. That's
great. Sorry.
It's the Croatia internet, guys. This is really live.
Yeah, poor Croatia. I don't want to blame them. It could be this hotel. So here's the thing: those AI requirements to have sovereignty, to get access to the right data at the right time, immediately as it's been created, the ability to very quickly blend together data sources from the cloud to the edge to data that's in front of you, and then the hybrid processing that's required to do big use case, to do the high value use cases. What I mean by that is it's not all about LLMs. It's also about stitching LLMs with classical analytics, classical ML, the things that we did in the data warehousing and data lake days. All of that coming together as an application needs to be done in a distributed way. That's why this word distributed AI is coming. And we are pushing it. I saw Equinix has jumped right onto it because they get it. Distributed AI is about getting access to data anywhere, but also getting access to the right LLMs, the right analytics, the right touch points across the organization to build out that hybrid high value capability. So there's a massive value benefit. It's not just about cost,
Absolutely. And how does the distributed AI in Zetaris, how do you actually make AI more efficient, more cost effective for companies?
Yeah. So the first thing is we enable companies not to build a massive lakehouse, right, which costs millions and millions of dollars. If you're a tier one company, it'll cost millions of dollars if you're in the middle, and hundreds and thousands if you're a bit lower down the ladder. So we say what you do is you create a modern open lakehouse, which means leave some of the data where it is, wherever it is in your company. If you've got some data in your branch offices, if you've got some data sitting in various cloud data marts, you might have a data lake. Don't go and try and push it all into one big stack, because for a start, to maintain that and to continuously build on that, you're just going to be in a world of pain in terms of cost, labor, efficiency. This idea of distributed AI is related to embedded AI, and embedded AI is coming really fast, right across the enterprise, across every business process, embedding AI. Guess what AI needs to do that embedded AI thing really well? It needs access to the data in real time wherever it is.
So that was my guess. I was just going to guess that, Vinay. Yeah. Access to real-time data wherever it lives.
Wherever it lives. And you're not going to be, I really see this. I was talking to people about this as a future in the next 3 years, but it's happening right now where people are saying, oh my God, to kind of connect my lakehouse data together and get a product going, we're failing. It's too slow. And by the time the data gets to my lakehouse, it's too old. Like in some use cases, seconds, it's too old. And so by bringing AI to wherever the data is, by creating that distributed, connected view of the data that's been cleaned, that has all the data quality rules applied and turned into a unified semantic view so that the AI can trust the data, that's the new thing. And we're calling that distributed AI. And Zetaris's modern lakehouse for AI enables distributed AI, which we're super excited about. And when customers get it, they get super excited because it's a real aha moment for them, because they say, that's why we're having all these problems, because we've been trying to do it the legacy way, and it's not sustainable.
There's a comment here from John. He's saying that he's seen these big data lakehouse projects fail every time. Good luck establishing governance and maintenance for that.
100%. That's why we exist, John. 100%. So who was it? The latest one was MIT, and then it was Gartner and Forrester. They're all talking about these high failure rates in AI projects. And they all talk about one of the big contributors is the data layer, not bringing the data together, the data layer, I should say, bringing the data together at the right speed, right quality, the right governance, and all of those other requirements I talked about sovereignty at the right level of IP ownership, you owning your IP. That is not something you can do with the legacy way of doing data management, which was built for the BI era, right? That whole thing about I've got to move all my data into one lake, duplicate it all, massive lakehouse, try and govern it. It is super hard. It doesn't work. I've been in this industry for too long. I already said it, 30-something years, and I've never seen a project that does a single view enterprise data lake or enterprise data warehouse successful. Trouble is, guess what AI needs to do its work right? And the more valuable AI capabilities that are coming to us really fast, it needs that single view across the domain that it's been built for or across the entire enterprise.
As real time as possible, right? To really be effective.
Yeah.
We've got another
query direction to keep your costs down.
Yeah, exactly. We've got another question here from Kevin about your Zetaris' primary technical use cases. Is Zetaris querying primarily enable feature engineering, model training, or RAG workflows? And then what types of data and what types of models? Is it ML or Gen AI?
Yeah, so Zetaris, you can think of Zetaris as a new lakehouse platform. So what you would use Databricks, Snowflake, Teradata for, you'd use Zetaris for. Difference is you've got optionality on how you can do it, and you've got the ability to dial up this real-time thing, real-time querying across your enterprise, and all those things we talked about. So all those things are in place. So Zetaris actually is an end-to-end platform to provision the right data for AI. It gives you that single pane of glass to see where's the data connected from, all the connected sources, to see what transformations were made on the data, what business rules, what data quality filters and rules, and then enable developers to build out in the Zetaris environment, using their preferred tools, by the way, to build out RAG or agentic AI or this whole embedded AI. We have everything from connecting to the data, running the query. So we're a query engine, a multi-engine query director. That's our idea of query engine. All the way to an avatar talking or a chatbot or analytic, all within the Zetaris to do it, to be able to do it in the time that AI needs it. And most AI use cases need an element of real-time access to data across the edge, the data center, and the cloud. So the market's really turned to us. We've been working on this for quite a long time. We kind of felt it's the right thing to do, and that's where the industry will go. But AI has accelerated this. So if you're doing centralized data lake, centralizing data across your business in this massive lakehouse, you're wasting money. You're wasting money on the compute. You're not doing query direction. You're also not enabling your company to get to that distributed AI thing that is the right architecture for doing embedded AI and agentic AI for the enterprise.
Right.
That's what we're
So,
seeing. That's what customers are telling us.
and then just one or two more questions for you. You mentioned
Sure.
earlier that if anything, customers should start with at least that layer on top with Zetaris. Is that how most customers actually try out the platform, or
Yeah.
how does that typically work?
Two types of customers. So one customer wants to build out and accelerate their AI agents. So we've got customers who are building AI nurses with us, AI mortgage brokers, co-pilots for various roles within an organization. We've got a few large technology companies that are doing operations and support AI within their operations and support business, right?
Right.
Getting rid of all those mundane talks. So that's one type of customer looking for specific AI outcomes. Sorry, there's a third one. Then other customers that want to accelerate their BI, get their reports right, get their analytics right, get the data moving faster and cheaper. Then we get the classic data platform customer who've got one big data lake, or they've got many lakes or data warehouses, and they want to get the complexity out of it. They want to get a single view. They want to get it right, the data quality, and they want to drive the costs down. And they like this idea of a distributed lakehouse. And they've tried the other thing and it's failed. So that's your classic lakehouse type of customer. So those are the three big use cases. It's agentic embedded AI. You want to accelerate to it. And the value proposition there is far less money, so about a third of anything else we see on the market. And within days and weeks, we can get a role-based AI, agentic AI, up and running into production. That's the big value proposition there. The value proposition for BI and reporting is to drive cost out, get accuracy up, and give you a whole lot more bandwidth back to do a whole lot more analytics. And then the final one is everything I talked about, doing this modern open lakehouse. But yeah, I think what your question was leading to is it is a transition. It's not a big bang. It's not, oh, you've got all of these platforms, you need to throw it all out and take Zetaris and we'll save you. Our approach is to layer over the top. You're right. We layer over top. The first thing they want, generally when we do that, is just a single queryable view of their multiple data sources across their business. Whereas right now they're moving data, they're mashing it and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually to that point, Scott just had a question about that single view. So to get to the single view, how do you get that started and up and running? For example, customer data across a dozen ERPs in a multinational enterprise.
Yeah, well, great question. So getting that unified semantic view, or what we used to call them back in the data warehousing days, the enterprise business model, that set of logical models that come together. We have 14 industry IP packs, or what we call 14 industry accelerators. And what they are a combination of industry business models, industry semantic views for various domains. And we basically have a reference set for each industry. And then we put AI on top of that. And what happens is you connect to all your source systems. The AI has a reference model, and it does automated classification, automated structuring, and it creates that semantic view. Now, why is that important? Because if you don't get the semantic view and the connections right, the integrity of how you connect customer in one database to customer in another database, is it the same thing? If you don't get that right, your AI is talking rubbish. It doesn't know that. It can't discover that, right? There's not enough data to train it. Quite frankly. So you have to have that unified semantic view. We use AI and those reference models to get there. Great question. And it's a hard thing to do. And not many people are doing it the way we are. And that's why, a relatively small company like us is getting the attention of some of the big global brands. And that's why I'm in Croatia at the moment.
And Vinay, I love how absolutely excited and enthusiastic you are about the topic. You're literally close to the camera. You're like, and
I
then let
love
me
it.
tell
I
you
love
about
it. I got to
distributed.
say, yeah, I love it. I'll tell you something, right? I started this company because a few years ago now, I said to myself, I was at all the technology companies selling data warehouses and data lakes, and their customers kept buying the next best one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they'd buy X platform and they'd say it's next gen warehouse, and that would fail. And then they'd buy the next platform and they'd say it's super gen data lake. I wanted to work out why it failed, and I think we've cracked the code on it. The why it failed is that moving data to the center, trying to resolve all your business rules and doing all this ETL stuff and quality stuff and governance stuff, trying to do all of that first before you query is wrong. It's not the right way to do it, and we've found the right way.
So this would be the last platform people buy. They're not going to move
Uh,
after.
that's a great question. That's our proposition. Well, here, that's an interesting concept. So Zetaris is a connected platform. It's a
Yeah.
metadata store. It's not a hard-coded platform. And so
Mhm.
if something is wrong, it's just reconnecting metadata. So yeah, I'm going to say it'll be your platform to make sure it'll be the last time that business effort to create business IP around how you're handling your data. That's what we focus on. We don't hard code it into some single platform and single query engine. So think
Yeah.
of it as this virtual lakehouse that
Mhm.
literally it's virtual because you can change it within a few clicks.
Okay. And Vinay, do you have a minute for one last audience question before my final
Yeah,
question, or do you want
sure,
to?
absolutely.
Okay. It's a good future thinking question from Arsh. So
Yep.
after solving this data lake warehouse model, what next major problem do you feel in the enterprise data landscape that should be tackled? So what are you going to fix next, Vinay?
So sorry, what did you say? So what's the next big problem?
The question made you freeze. I love it. You were like, it's the
I
internet.
did.
I know.
That wasn't my response, by the way.
He was speechless, Arsh. This was
Yeah, yeah.
um
So
so he
after
said,
solving that,
after solving this, what's the next major problem that you think you're going to tackle in enterprise data landscape, or that should be
yeah,
tackled?
I think I'll tell you what. I think we are set up to tackle it, and we're seeing customers realize it. We're not quite there yet. I think the proliferation and ubiquity of AI is going to be a massive problem for enterprises,
Hmm.
right? And they'll need a single pane of glass to see all their AI operations, see every embedded bit of AI, and it's not just see what it's doing, see why it's doing, and what rules, what business rules, what conclusions were drawn from the rules and the reference data that it was making decisions on. I think that has the potential of being a runaway train in any
Hmm.
enterprise that hasn't got a system for having a single view of AI. I'll call it
Right.
that. We were using single view of data. I think
Yeah.
single view of AI, I think, is the next big problem, and I think we
Mm.
set up for it. We are addressing the distributed AI thing, and in doing that, we've set up for creating single view of AI. And
Mhm.
remember, it's not just can I see all my RAG efforts. It's everything around it. It's all the data, how it came together, the pipelines, the business rules, the governance rules, the data quality filters, having that single lineage and doing it on every project, bringing it together and seeing how that's interrelated. And there's a business opportunity in that, making sure that you leverage past effort of past developers in the next project. So if you have
Mhm.
a single view of everything you're doing, then you can cobble together and you can start blocking IP and past efforts to the next thing you want to build. So yeah, I think it's that the ubiquity of AI is a huge challenge. I think the other big challenge I want to call out again is sovereignty. If I'm a
Mhm.
CEO, and I am, I would strongly think about, is the AI platform I'm using important as IP? And I think it is. And Zetaris, guess what? We're an open source company. So you get access to that IP. The
Mm.
models you build are yours. Uh, you're
That's
not
important.
training some other company that could retrain their clients with your ideas and your LLMs. Um,
Yeah.
it's, I really, when this first started, this whole AI thing, I looked at it and said, boy, we're really well positioned to make sure our clients can put strong fences around what should be their moat. I think AI is the biggest competitive moat you can develop, and if you're doing it on an open platform, good luck. That's all I can say. You need to treat that as any other valuable IP in your business. So sovereignty of everything to do with what delivers AI, including the data platform. You should own the data platform.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's about it. Very excited because things are going well, obviously.
Good. I can see you're all smiles. I love it. So my very final question to you is, for those who want to save money, right, and go with Zetaris, what's the first step they should take? Where can they go to learn more, book a demo? What's the process there?
Yeah. So for a start, vinay.samuel@zetaris.com. I'll always answer clients and partners. But you can go to our website. There's book a demo, contact us. We do boot camps, right? As long as it's a serious business opportunity for both of us, meaning the client and us, we'll do it for free at our risk, because 9 out of 10 of our boot camps move towards a pilot and an opportunity for us to make money, and a ton of opportunity for the client to make money. So we do boot camps. The other thing is, it doesn't take much to verify the things I've said on this call. It's a 2-week pilot. We'll take risk, you'll take risk, and we'll get it going. But then again, or I'll reiterate, we'll do these pilots, we'll do boot camps, but there has to be a significant business opportunity behind it, because we all want to be commercial. We're not looking to impress people by how great we are. We know that. So that's what I'd say. Get in touch. We want to prove the things that we've said. We do that first. And yeah, that's how you do it.
Awesome. Well, Vinay, sounds like you're doing great. I'm very happy you were able to spare so much time to chat, and the internet held up great. So woof, thanks.
Yeah, it did well, thank God. It wasn't too bad.
I know, we were both worried. Thank you to the audience who joined in with great comments and questions. Really appreciate that. It does make it a lot more fun, right, when we have thoughtful comments and questions coming in. So yeah, make sure you're following Zetaris if you're out there. And Vinay, hopefully you and I will chat again very soon. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you so much, Kate. That was fun. Lots of fun.
All right.